Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Mount Tabor Grand Lodge YouTube channel. This morning, July 9th, we're going to try and discuss seven videos from the Mount Tabor Grand Lodge YouTube channel. We hope that you find this enlightening, inspiring, and hopefully it will elevate you both intellectually, morally, and help you obtain, as we like to say, peace, power, and prosperity. We have this morning Brother Imran, Brother Moore, Brother Mays, and Brothers. I always love to say brothers. Okay, so with that having been said, good morning, fellas.
Good morning, brother.
Good morning.
Good morning, brother.
The first tape or video we watched was called "Level Up: Ousting Babylon." So with that in mind, let's go to Brother Imran. Are you familiar with Babylon at all?
That's kind of my perception where I'm from. When I listen to it, it goes back to me stating like I grew up different, so it's like a separation, like saying we in the world, but we're not of it. So just certain things I don't do.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
I live a certain way.
Okay.
I try to be as honest as I can. You know, like you said, integrity.
All right. Sounds good.
At the end of the day, your word means a lot. You know,
amen.
It carries you a long way.
Okay, you know? let's go to Brother Moore.
And Babylon to me represents chaos. Everything kind of opposite of righteousness. You know, anything goes when it comes to Babylon.
Okay.
And
okay. See what I can do here. And we're going to Brother Mays. You want to talk to us?
Yes, I can definitely say ancient Babylon was something else, you know. A lot of things going on. Now the systematic Babylon, I'm gonna agree with Brother Moore when he said chaos. A lot of chaos, a lot of confusion within this systematic Babylon.
Okay, Wishful Master Brothers.
I would say that Babylon is a system of this age and of this world and of this ruler, which once again, we know who that is, the Prince of Powers of the Airs. And of course, there's going to be chaos and disorder because that's what he does. Yeah.
Okay, can you guys see my screen? I'm sharing the screen with you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna see if we can move to the next level and have a little recording.
Ireland School of Ministry.
Can y'all hear that?
Where
yes.
He received his associate's degree, and he was the salutatorian of that class. Amen. Yeah. He has been in business, in the insurance business for 25 years.
Okay, we don't need to hear all of that. I'm gonna skip around.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. We're gonna cover some topics here that are near to my heart, and I do want to take time again to thank Dr. Moore and the Lord of Directors of ISOM for this opportunity. I want to thank God for letting it be in His will that I'm standing before you today, and I hope the Holy Spirit uses me to be obedient. We're going to talk a little bit, we're going to cover topics such as the grind versus the rest. Okay? Obviously, a grind is a dreary, monotonous rut that we tend to get into. It's one of those things we call a job sometimes. All the time. You find people going from homework. Well, you maybe you go homework church. But it can become a grind. It becomes a rut. But then we also want to talk a little bit about the hustle. Now, hustle has a bad name, so, but at the same time, it's making things happen for you and yours. So when I say hustle, I'm talking about how to obtain what you want in life the right way. In other words, using God given talents and time and money wisely. We're also going to talk about integrating faith a little bit into the workplace, declaring the word of God to secure your career, business, or career. You know, we have, as my pastor says, we have three here.
Introducing SpeechAlarm.
Oh, that's cute.
Sounding speech software on the market. Hey, I'm Joey.
That's
and I'm
cute.
One of the 30 AI.
You get the ads too.
The flesh, the world, and they're constantly riding our back, trying to get us to go left or right. This information, I'm hoping that it will be very beneficial to ages 18 to 55. And in my presentation, I'm going to be referring to Bible scripture a lot. Some of it I will give you, some of it I will just give you the scripture. Now, let's go to work. We have a son that played basketball, and he was a good basketball player. People would probably say he is. However, whenever they got down and the game got close, I love hollering, "Let's go work." That was my trick, and I tried to make that hit. So that's what I'm saying to you. Let's go work. We're going to talk about the grind and the hustle. The grind is working for somebody else, and the hustle is working for yourself. You know, I often say that there are stages in life from 0 to 20. You're looking at learning. From 20 to 40, you practice. From 40 to 60, you should be able to make things happen. That's when you should be able to call things into existence. All too often, when we get into our 40s, we get tired of being on the grind. We start thinking outside the box and want to do our own thing. We want to take the education, experience, life experiences, and put them to work for us individually and build our own business. Actually, when you start hitting 50 to 60, then companies start looking at you funny, because now you might cost them more money medically, right? You're at top pay, maximum pay. So they have a tendency to want to look at you kind of strange also. See, when you have a job, I like to say you are like a kept animal. You are told when to come, when to go, when you can be off, okay? How long your breaks off. So everything about you is regulated by someone else. However, it's my contention that God is a God of entrepreneurship. Okay? God created us with a will to hunt. You know, when they opened the gate, and I was in my 30s, when Southwest Seville, I got out of the owner, went to Southwest Seville, became worked in marketing and advanced to supervisor and so forth, and lo and behold, they had a package. Now, I consider that opening the gate. And when they opened the gate, I ran out. Never looked back. People thought I was crazy. And I haven't lost anyway. In fact, I gained some. Okay? So it's a matter of taking what God has given us and doing what we are purpose to do. Our assignment today is to aid you in solidifying or creating a foundation that will take you and your family where you would like to go. We want to help you put that in place. We want you to have the peace that is noted in Romans 8:6 and the power in Luke 1:37. And I love 2 Corinthians 9:8 where it says, "And God is able to make all grace abound to me so that I always have all sufficiency in everything." And that's when he gives us a word like that, we should become powerful. Now, to capture that power, that peace and power and prosperity, we're gonna have to regularly be involved and attend probably a good, I would say probably, definitely a good Bible teaching church. You need to have scripture, and then you need validated scripture to make sure that it takes you where you're supposed to be. You see, everyone who wishes to be successful should periodically check their compass. Hopefully you got a picture of the compass when you came in, and if you didn't, you can have one when you get it when you go out. Two things about a compass. Compass is designed to keep you on the right track, put you on the right road. The second thing is denotes as a verb your comprehension of a situation, a place, or a thing. So compasses are very important. And a compass will never tell you where you've been. It's always talking about where you're going.
The best way to burn fat is with more fat. And I'm being serious because there's actually two different types of fat in your body. One,
All right, brothers, talk to me.
I don't know.
Any comments?
Just as I wanted to comment as far as number one, we have to have a foundation. And as we're going into business, and I guess that's what we're talking about here is moving from, being a worker into entrepreneurship and whatnot. You still need a foundation and you need morals that you're going to need to stand on, which number one needs that you're going to need to know the word. And because that's his will for us. And as long as we're abiding by that and we're not moving in the Babylonian way, that we can do business and be successful because we're built on something that has been tried and tested.
Let me say this to you. Everybody can't own their own business, but everybody can own their own part of a business. So even if you have a job, you should take ownership of that position within that company. And when you take the ownership of that position with the mentality of owning that position, then you're going to perform at a higher level and thus receive the rewards as if you were in business for yourself. So it's not necessary for everybody to own their own business. However, there are some people that are just geared towards that, and that's fine. But imagine if you own a business and you have 5, 10, 15, 20 employees, and each one felt like an owner of their particular job within your company, how successful would the company be? Good morning, Wishful Master Searles, welcome.
Morning, sir.
Morning,
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Brother Searles.
See, Babylon is known for fear, greed, and corruption. And good part of Babylon is when somebody has a job and want to leave it, they wind up hurting the company they left, which
Right.
is not fair. Go ahead, Brother Moore. Any comments?
Yeah, my dad used to tell me, you're supposed to work a job like you're working directly for God himself. Like when I was a young man, he would always say that to me. And I watched my dad, like he worked hard at everything. He retired at 49, finished college at 54 after losing his first house, after the divorce and things like that. After he retired, he was doing better, So, and he told me that all of that was directly related to how he treated his work and things like that, along with some of the things that he picked up while in the military. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay. Brother Mays, any comment?
Yes, I'm gonna piggyback off of what Brother Moore said. I agree with that. I was told the same thing. And if you really look at it, we are, because we're representation of the Most High on earth, So with that being said, we have to be great examples, in the workplace, you know. So I definitely believe that, you have to take ownership in whatever craft or position you hold in a company, like it's yours.
But see, you want me to do this work and you want me to go beyond the scope of my job description and work late and give you 110%, but you're not reciprocating in kind to me. I'm not getting paid what I think I should get paid. I'm not getting the benefits of doing my work and Moore's work too. Okay? And with that having been said, I'm gonna ask Brother Searles to chime in.
All right, yes, sir. So I guess based upon that synopsis that you put together, that would depend on what are the expectations of your job title of your employment within that company. And also, I believe that it also stands on the shoulders of leadership. So as an employee working under a supervisor, your supervisor should have expectations for that employee. And if that employee is meeting and exceeding those expectations on his or her own, then it's up to management or that supervisor to actually recognize that and either promote or provide other opportunities for that individual. And if that is happening and it's not being reciprocated, then it's upon that individual to take it upon him or herself to try to move in a different direction, because you should know your work as a worker, as an employee, and that you're trying to do this to either better yourself, better the organization, and to move it into a different and better direction. So we all have to know our own self-worth.
All right, brothers, you had something you want to say.
We just also all have to recognize that while we're individuals and we have to take responsibility for ourselves and our development, that we are still interdependent. And so we have to do what is the best for the whole of the craft, or for the whole of the church, or for the whole of the family. And so we just have to keep that in mind.
All right, Brother Mays, you had your hand up.
Yes, sir. I want to bring something up from the Bible. We remember Joseph in the Bible. He served under Pharaoh. Joseph worked for a master, and he did his job. And the master he worked for, the wife, pushed herself upon him, and this guy was sentenced to jail innocently for not messing with this woman. This man did X amount of years in jail, and he did his time. He did what he's supposed to have done. He even interpreted dreams for two inmates that was in there with him. But he did what he's supposed to have done. You know what I'm saying? Now he could have went out a whole different way, but he stood true. He stood true in his positions, whether when he was working for Pharaoh, when he was working for that master, or when he was in jail, and he stayed true to the Most High. And
so what you telling us?
Well, I'm saying sometimes when we in these positions where we're not being treated fairly, we got to cling on to the Most High. We got to go back to those principles and pray, And once we pray, what I'm saying, because Most High see what's going on, but sometimes he put us in situation for us to build strength, wisdom, and experience.
Outstanding. Okay, Brother Moore, you got a hand up?
Yeah, as far as like when we in those positions and we working and we might not be recognized and things like that. And I'm just saying in my own personal life, when I started applying like the principles from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, taking ownership of your position and things like that, and start doing better, I seen things start to change for me, like within organizations. I started getting more responsibility and making a little bit more money, because you do the job like how we've been teaching without you do all things without grumbling and things like that, and things do get a little bit better for you, and then you get what you can get from an organization where the experience that you gain, if you can't advance there, you can take what experience that you have got by you putting in the best work ethic that you, or you're putting your best foot forward, and you can go somewhere else and you can reap the benefits of what you learn.
Okay, here's a question for you. And I'm gonna ask this question and okay. If I hire you, Brother Al, to work for $200 a day from 8 to 4, and doing what I need you to do, you heard the question, heard this before, more, I'm sure. And then I hire more to work from 12 to 4 for $200, doing the same work, and then turn around and hire Brother Mays. Brother Mays, I'm gonna hire you to work from 2 to 4 for $200 doing the same work. What's the general consensus? How does everybody feel about that?
You
Or as
gotta
far as
work with-
comparable, or I mean, how should we
That's
feel?
what
How
she
do
was
you really
parable.
feel?
No
It is
parable,
terrible.
it's just
That's
a
terrible.
bottom line question. I own the company. I decided, brothers and
Brother,
I
we
entered
shouldn't.
into an
We're not
agreement.
getting cheated, so we shouldn't
what?
feel any type. So we're not getting cheated because it's your money and you're paying out the way you should pay out. That's the whole thing about fraternization. Also, that's why we shouldn't fraternize. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter. But most people probably would feel some type of way if they had to work all day and a guy doing the exact same thing they doing, getting paid the same amount, and he only worked half the day. So the average human, probably would feel some type of way, but he should not. Because once
No,
again,
you
this
should
is
not, because
yeah,
everybody was contracted separate.
contracted separately. Yeah. So
Go ahead, Brother Mays.
That's a parable out the Bible as well, representing, the Most High and how he choose people, sinners, But yeah, I agree with it. It's not, we don't own the company, you know what I'm saying? So if you choose to contract amount where you paying me the same wages for less amount of time, that's on you, you know what I'm saying, as the owner. It's me to accept that, right? If I'm the guy who's working the longer hours for the same amount of wages, it's me, you know what I'm saying, accepting that position for those wages. So I can't get upset about that.
One of the things we don't look at down the road. We were talking earlier, I said the devil don't know the future, they only know the past and the present. And the bottom line is you don't know what the owner is looking for. So I might pay Mays that $200 for 2 hours, but then tomorrow, next week, when I have a solid position available or whatever the case may be, I've been observing brothers and more, which work longer. So we don't know what the Most High has in place for us, okay? Faithfulness will always get us rewards. Brother Searles, you can see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna listen to a little bit of this next video on Babylon.
This $30 bag is taking a
And as soon as the commercial is over with.
all your valuables safe in one.
Hey, Brother Ware,
Yes, sir.
I was gonna say I was in a position like that, based on this parable and this example that you just gave, where I was making a certain amount, then they had new people come in and they gave them more money up front, and I didn't grumble, but that was after I had started studying and learning with you guys, and then I end up getting better, like taken care of in the long run.
That's
You
it.
know,
That is it.
Brother Ware really hit it on the head. I'm just gonna try to pick up. I know we have a diverse age group in here. I want to make sure that everybody understands what.
I want to feel some type of way.
In this definition of the marketplace, it says the marketplace is an open square or place in a town where markets or public sales are held. The marketplace is the interpreter of supply and demand. This next definition really caught my eye. It says The marketplace is the world of trade or economic activity, the daily world, the everyday world. That definition should grab a hold of you and make you understand that if you're talking about the everyday world, you're not talking about the church. Amen?
Amen.
So in the everyday world, we all have a responsibility and a duty to bring Christ into the everyday world.
All right.
So we have an opportunity to bring Christ into the marketplace. When you look at Romans 12:2, it says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is the good and acceptable and perfect will of God. We're responsible for bringing God into the marketplace. We got to make sure that we are not conformed to the marketplace, but we transform the marketplace. That greed, fear, and corruption, that Babylonian culture has to be unseated in the marketplace. If you do not unseat Babylon out of the marketplace, then no matter who follows along and sits in that seat, nothing will change. The culture will still be the same. You have to not only unseat Babylon out of the marketplace, but you have to replace it with principles that line up with the Word of God. Places. This is the rules of engagement. Why is that the rules of engagement? Because it's telling you who you need to engage in the marketplace. You're not fighting against your boss. You're fighting against the Babylonian spirit that is on your boss. You don't have any power on your boss, but if you're in Christ, you do have power over the Babylonian spirit that is on your boss.
All right.
Remember, you're dealing with a culture. That culture has put certain things in place that this manager has to follow. Because that manager just may not be rooted in his own or her own principles of God. So how do you combat that? We tend to look at the manager as employees and think that everything is, we go against that manager. Oh my God, this manager this manager that. When I was an hourly associate, I was a bad associate. I can tell you right now, my brother's over here in the crowd filming me, and he can tell you that there was a time when I was supposed to be going to work at night. I was working overnight at Sam's Club, and he's sitting on his patio, drinking a beer and smoking a cigarette, and the guy that I worked with was walking by. And I waved at him as he walked by and said, I'll see you in a minute. As soon as he walked by, I picked the phone up and I called in. Now, in his mind, he's thinking, he called in and said, I just saw him sitting on the patio drinking a beer. There's nothing wrong with him. That was the type of associate, that's the type of employee that I was.
Stop. Just give me 5 seconds.
All right.
And I guarantee you will be sharp. Okay. So I will just stop talking right now.
As employees, we have to understand the manager's side just as much as we want the manager to understand our side in order to function in the marketplace. As a manager, as an employee, I wanted to be a manager, but I couldn't. I felt like I was being held back, and they wouldn't allow me to be a manager. But I'm calling in. I'm missing work. I'm late for work. Now, when I was at work, I was one of the best associates there. But it's all about when I came to work. Okay, it's that dependability factor. Mm-hmm. So I was watching Joel Osteen one day. You got to control your shrink. The fourth thing is you got to turn a profit. I was in management, so I had to sit down and talk to this young lady. I walked out of that room and I called my wife. And We say yes. But what if that check ain't here next Friday? Who are you looking at to pay your light bill? I understood who my provider was at that point. I did not believe in Sam's Club to pay my bills. I believed in God to take care of me. When Brother Ware announced me and he said, this is the guy that took a leap of faith, I'm not gonna lie, I ain't have to take no leap of faith because
All right, fellas, what's your comment? What's your thoughts?
As far as that, I'm sorry, go ahead, Brother Moore.
Go
I
ahead,
wasn't gonna say nothing.
Brother Moore.
No, I wasn't gonna say anything. I'm just listening.
Okay.
Yeah, I was listening too. So
Oh, okay. Well, I had to come in. It's kind of like what he was saying throughout that video. Sometimes that that we're in the workplace, and although we're in a Babylonian system, we still have to stay true to the principles and precepts that we've learned, especially within the Masonic order. And that's why we have a heads up on everybody else. But there's situations and circumstances, as he was saying, with the young woman, and that may present a situation where you're in the exact opposite of what you should be doing as far as what the Babylonian system has taught you. And one thing that we say is that when something comes into conflict with what we've been taught, then we have to go back with the word of God. And if it doesn't line up with that, then that's when, even with the laws of the land, that's when we have to veer off and stay true to what we know. And so,
Okay.
although I'll leave
Okay.
it at that.
Any other comments? Brother Mays?
Yes, sir. Just real short. You have to become a great servant, a good servant, before you could become a great leader.
Amen. You got to be in order to benefit. Well, bottom line is we're supposed to establish a relationship with the Most High, so that we are guided to do the right thing and what's expected. And that's not always what the world says. What do we say in Masonry? We are in the world, but not
of it.
of the world. So we got to step out a little differently. It's interesting having jobs. I did that, and I can remember back in the 80s when they came up with the Family Leave Act, and my daughter was being born, and I said I was going to take off for pregnancy, and my boss at Southwestern Bell told me I must have more money than sense, because he was told not to let me do that, to discourage that. But that was something I had a right to do, wanted to do, and could afford to do. So you really do have to be in line with what God has for you. Bottom line. So if you're gonna fight Babylon, you can't fight him with your will. You got to fight him with the spirit. Hello?
Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
Amen.
100%.
Let me give you 4 corners. You're looking at my screen and I'm talking. Down to the left corner, that's the edge where it meets. Let's say that's me. Going up, you looking at God. Going over, you looking at Jesus. Coming down to the other corner, okay, that's the Holy Spirit. If I'm out here by myself, I don't have too much power. But if I can put that cube in place, hello, go ahead, Brother Searles.
Yeah, I really like the analogy. You're correct, because we can't do anything on our own. Excuse me. There's nothing that we can do in life on our own. We have to have that connection with the Most High to be able to lead, guide, and direct us in the way that he wants us to go, and we have to be obedient to whatever that direction is that he wants us to go. So we need him at all times. So great analogy. I appreciate that.
Okay. Any other comments on
Yeah, I like to
ousting
say,
Babylon? And that's what we're talking about now. Some brothers, people looking at
Babylon.
this video is going to talk and think in terms of Babylon, fear, greed, and corruption within their lives and their communities. So what do we get? What advice do we have to them to oust Babylon? Go ahead, Brother Moore.
Well, I was gonna say, when it comes to working these jobs and things like that, how I get through it and deal with the system, I'd be like, God brought me this far, not this far to fail. You know, so that's how I approach the Babylonian system every day when I was having to clock in and things like that there, or if I was having issues on my job, and not knowing at the same time that I'm using these principles that we have actual knowledge for teaching us how to deal with it, but I was doing it in my mind or saying it every day like an affirmation that God didn't bring me this far to fail.
Gotcha. Brother Imran, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was gonna say something.
And all we can see is the wall.
Yeah.
Bring
My
it
thing
down,
is-
bring it down, bring it down, bring it good. Okay.
Yeah, my thing is, I have to learn how to control my temper because people do things, I guess, just to see if I'm do the right thing or I'm gonna act out. So sometimes I gotta realize it's just a test, I guess.
Let me throw a word of wisdom towards you. You have to learn. How long does it take you to learn? That could be a process that can be a day,
Lifetime.
it could be a week, it could be a lifetime. So as long as you talk the way you talk, as long as you put that statement the way you put it, you will never, or you stand less of a chance of learning. So I have learned. I do have first person present tense. When we want something in the Bible, it says, let the weak say that they are strong. Period. Not gonna be, not gonna learn how to be, not someday, but I am strong.
Got it.
Because in Jesus's mind, it's already done. Now, if you want me to go preaching just a little bit, when Jesus died upon the cross, everything that we needed for our peace, power, and prosperity was settled. It was settled. That was the end of it. Okay? With his blood, everything was done. All we got to do is walk into the glory. Well, y'all gonna make me a preacher, and I ain't gonna like y'all for that. So it's already been done. All we got to do is capture it.
We got to be receptive.
Yeah, got to accept it. Brother Al, quickly comment on what I just said.
We just have to be walking epistles and walk out and live what we've been taught, purposely directing all of our dealings, business-wise, carrying our contracts. And that's how we oust the system by.
Okay, what's an epistle?
A follower of something.
Okay, brother Searles, you're biblically astute.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, well, you know, we see epistles as, you know, writings, excuse me, and writings is the thoughts of the individual that's, of course, putting it to paper. And
right.
So when you're speaking, like Paul did the majority of these various writings in the New Testament, giving instructions to a people or individual on how to carry themselves and what to do. So when we look at it that way, as far as being living epistles and, you know, doing what we do, it's like, I forgot how that saying goes, is let the works I do, like let the works I've done speak for me. So that's when you're being a walking epistle, and somebody can see the way that you're walking and that you're stepping and that you're being a true example. And being in step and in line as much as possible with y'all's word.
Man, now you just explained what I've been saying for quite some time. I want to be able to see what you say and hear what you do.
Yes, sir.
Because if you're going according to the word, according to principles and precepts, then I should be able to see that. And you say it where you say it, I can see it. If you do it, I hear it. So I want to be able to hear what you say, or hear what you do, and see what you
Say.
in life.
Yes.
So it's a challenge now. It is a challenge because you will be challenged by your peers, by your family, and so forth, in terms of why are you like that? You changing, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Any other comments? All right, let's move to tribalism, which is the next video. Hey, y'all cheating. Our mission is to create walking epistles within the Masonic order, and it and assist its members in elevating themselves to a godly level of peace, power, and prosperity through correlated Bible and Masonic teaching. Okay, so what is tribalism? John Moore, you look different now. We need to figure out how
it sure does. How you did that?
We need to figure out how we can go back and look younger.
I'll say about my grandson.
Hey, just call him Houdini.
Houdini or witchcraft or something. We might. Look at, I want to drink some of that water. I want to drink some of that water you drinking in Florida.
Hey, I'm going backwards, right?
I hear you. But in the Masonic order, in churches, in life, we wind up with these tribes, okay? Pros and cons of tribes. Talk to us.
Just tribalism is when you got the humans or a group of the same individuals, which are grouped off individually. And like I say, we shouldn't do it, but it's tribes everywhere. It's tribes in churches, tribes within the lodge, and so you have to. You can't be hateful and resentful towards other people, but a lot of times, if their views don't line up with our views, whether it's politically or as far as dogma is concerned, then we click off with those that do, and that's a lot of times with wars and strife and everything else.
Okay. There's good and bad in everything.
Yeah.
Okay. When I talk about the tribalism in Masonry, Freemasonry, I was talking about the bad end of it. Mm-hmm. Putting one man against another man.
Yeah.
Okay. And one thing the Masonic order is supposed to express and exemplify is tolerance. So a good tribe is one that brings a man in, teaches him, helps him to grow, okay, and then allows him to go out and multiply himself, multiply the order. The same, that's the way it should be, okay? But if I'm gonna bring men in and tell them that Brother Moore, because he's PHA and I'm AF and AM, we don't operate, we don't correlate, we don't communicate because he's A and I'm B, okay, then we got a problem. I'm wrong.
Right.
Okay, first of all, we're all men and human beings. We were all created by God. Mm-hmm. So the tribalism is good for teaching and elevating purposes. But when it pits you against another man, now we have a problem. Now that's just my thoughts.
Well, yeah, that's the difference between tribes and tribalism. It takes a village to raise children and raise up individuals and to grow communities. But tribalism, like you said, is that spirit of, you know, like you said, if everything don't line up, then you pick off, and it's just like I said, it's detrimental.
Well, again, go ahead, Brother Mays.
Real quick, I'm gonna say this. United we stand, divided we fall.
Okay. Okay, there you go. Summed up quick, fast, and in a hurry. The tribalism I was talking about create three injustices. It says it restricts and limits the growth of the individual member. Example, you join the Masonic order, you should be able to travel wherever you go, you should be able to find a friend. Okay. Oftentimes these guys want to holler or talk against another jurisdiction, another lodge, or whatever the case may be, but let them get in trouble and give a distress sign, they're going to accept help from whoever it comes. Second thing, it does not allow members to share good news of God Almighty with one another. Third thing, it promotes strife and confusion, which God is never in the midst of. Hello.
True.
So with that being said, we want to talk about relationships. Okay. And as far as relationships are concerned, we have to identify the ones we should have, the ones we shouldn't have. Somebody said there's like 3 types of people, right?
Mhm.
Any comments on that?
Yeah, you just have to strive to be that individual with that added value, and don't be one of the A's or B's, which you know, is taken away from the situation. Like you say, any brother who takes away is a brother who helps to destroy. And what we want to do is be sons and not just workers. We, you know, like we said in the video, if I'm gonna fire 75% of the company, this guy here, that's the one that you're not gonna touch, because you know I'm gonna need him at the basis. He's doing what he needs to do. He's going over and beyond. He's a true asset versus B or C, which is, you know, I'm there some of the time, or like the guy was saying, but I'm coming late. I'm not really dependable. Or, you know, like the first one where you say this guy here, well, I guess actually that would be C. I got it backwards. The C would have been the individual who just comes to work, doesn't really care about the work, doesn't add anything to it. And, you know, basically it's taken from the job. Because
Well, have any of you began to identify who you need to spend less time with in your life?
I have, brother. I'm talking about relatives that I love. You know what I mean? Like I had to like distance myself from because of the things that they were into, and it shows in my life. Like growing up, literally most of my peers, out of 10 people that I used to run with, everybody went to prison but me, and one got killed. You know what I'm saying?
And you didn't go to prison because you didn't get caught.
that might be it. But listen, and it scared me straight. But my godmother, you know, her son, this is my best friend. Wherever you saw him, you saw me, right?
Okay.
But the year he got killed, we had distanced ourselves, and I was working. Like he hadn't seen me for like 6, 7 months, 8 months, and he came to my house. It wasn't even my house; it was my mom's house. I was visiting my mother, and he came over there 2 days before he got killed, and he was like, "Man, we need to start by hanging out. I love you. I miss you," and whatnot. And 2 days later, he was dead. And his mom now, when she sees me, this happened. We were 21. I'm 45. And she said, "Man," she said, "I love you and I respect you because your best friend, when he started doing his thing out there, you distance yourself and went the other way." You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I don't know, man. I just knew I couldn't raise my son from prison, and I knew I can't raise him from the grave. You know what I mean?
All right.
That's true.
Well, you know, a lot of times we have to go back and look at instances like that and realize that that's a hand of the Holy Spirit guiding us. Okay? And if we give credit where credit is due and say that's who gave me the unction, the willpower to make that decision and separate myself from wrong and evil or whatever the case may be, then we're good. But if we start talking about something told me, there is no something.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as something. So, but
I didn't know it then, brother. I know it now that was the Holy Spirit, but I didn't know it then.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we said something about you have to give everyone in your life a rating. Another way of putting in that is that you have to judge people. Hello.
Yes. Yes.
You said judge people.
Yeah, I said judge.
Yeah, you got to make decisions. If I could, Grandmaster.
Okay.
Go ahead. Come on, Imran. I hit.
You know, like the Bible said, don't judge or you will be judged. So, I mean, I understand that to a certain point, but I mean, you know, I mean, it's sketchy though. It's very sketchy though. You know what I mean? Because if it walks like a duck, it's a duck. You know, things of that nature. But you know, I'm a person that the Holy Spirit talks to me. So you know, at the end of the day, if I see things and I got eyes, I see. So at the end of the day, you know, I make my decisions on my instincts. You know, I don't listen to
your instinct. Listen
yeah,
to
what,
it. He make it on his instinct.
You can't do that if he's talking to you.
Go ahead.
well, I mean, my spirit, my spirit. You know,
Go ahead.
Imran,
we're gonna let you finish digging this hole for yourself. Come on, talk to
no,
me.
man. Okay. It's like this. Okay. I look at people based on what they say and what they do.
Okay.
Okay. And if I don't do certain things, I don't rob, I don't steal, I haven't killed nobody. So therefore, if you selling drugs and I don't sell drugs, I don't hang with you. I don't steal, so I don't hang with thieves.
Is that a judgment call?
That is a judgment call.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, but the Bible said, don't judge or you will be judged. So explain that to me.
Anybody want to explain that to him? Go ahead, Maze.
And I understand completely what you're saying, brother. So in that context, when the Bible said that, it's like when Christ said, before you remove the speck out your brother, I remove the log out of yours.
Exactly.
If you're going through something, right, you don't have your life together. You know what I'm saying? You going through problems or whatever. Don't try to correct someone else. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself together first, then be an aid to your brother. You know what I'm saying? If you, or your sister, if you got yourself together. Don't, you know, be knocking somebody else down when you're down with them. You know, that's more so where I get the understanding from. But also, you have to be able to discern, you know, individuals and people in your life. You know, I go by look, listen, and learn, you know, and I discern as much as I can, because God give us the gift to do that if you pray for it. So you got to know who you're dealing with.
Right. I mean, Imran, if you selling crack and I'm selling weed, I shouldn't be criticizing you. We both selling something illegal. That's the spec Maze talking about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Maze can say Imran and Ware selling drugs, I'm not gonna fool with them.
Right. That's the judgment that we're talking about right there, brother Imran. Not
being judgmental.
Yeah, not being judgmental as far as looking at a sinner because one sin is no greater than the other, right? And
Right.
you know what I mean? But that like the judgment that we're exercising, okay, let's say for instance you in business, right?
Yeah.
You make a decision with somebody based off of your emotions and things like that, not based on it, like to deal with this particular person. You might like this person, you know this person, but they're just not good business and they want to get into business with you, and you take a chance on them knowing that they're already not good business. You didn't exercise good judgment right there, because that could cost you a whole lot of money and time invested. So that's what we're talking about when it comes to judgment and things on that part. And
Gotcha, I got you.
not you a sinner and I'm a sinner and I'm better than you. Not that way. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I got you.
So you got to make judgment calls in life if you want to stay in right relationship with the universe. Now, if you want to be in right relationship with the world, your flesh and the devil, then you just let come what may. Okay? You be acceptant of anything the world puts in front of you. Go ahead, brothers.
Like the scripture says, because two travel together unless they're on one accord. And so anything that's not lining up with what we're trying to do in our end destination, we need to be trying to distance ourselves from it, regardless, especially all those things which are negative. Being in our relationships, being at work, being wherever it is, you need to get rid of that and get rid of those type of people.
All right, sir. Fellas, the next, I know there's a lot more we can talk about on this subject, because this is where a lot of us fall short in picking and managing our relationships. A lot of times when we were single, those of us that are married now, when we were single, we knew she wasn't worth anything, but we just hung with it anyway. Okay. And hey, hopefully the good Lord kept his hand of protection around us, on us, and so forth. Did you all listen to past Grand Master Emeritus Weston Jarvis? Any comments on him? Okay, let me do this.
Okay.
Man, y'all got me, bringing me up to speed on this
Welcome
video
to
stuff.
Mount Grand Lodge YouTube channel. I'm in Buffalo, New York.
Right there.
Grand Master Emeritus Weston Jarvis. How are you?
I am magnificent.
Oh, I love those words.
How about you, man?
All is well. I've been wanting to do this for, as you know, months. Get you on camera, let you just have at it. There's a lot of young men coming in, a lot of young men want to be in, a lot of men in that need correction and instruction. So what is your recommendation? What advice do you have for?
Well, for those who are in, my encouragement for them is to do the right thing.
Okay.
Right. We got too many people that are doing the wrong thing that are in. For those who desire to come in, make sure you hook up with the right people. And those people are the people that are doing the right thing. So I became a Mason at the age of 19. I'm 46 now. And so I've had the opportunity to go to a lot of conferences and go overseas and do a lot of great things. As a matter of fact, I'm here at the Jim Graham Masonic Congress session right now in Buffalo, New York. So I'll be here a whole week doing some great stuff Masonically on every level, just about every right you can think of. And so my encouragement for them is just hook up with the right people and do the right thing. And then I think if they do that, they'll have a successful and encouraging Masonic career.
Now, how do you identify the right people?
Well,
hey,
I'm Joey.
All right. Well, that's a powerful young man.
You listen to this.
Yeah.
And we don't.
Sometimes it's through trial and error. And you got to go with gut feeling or intuition. We're dealing with anybody, because on every aspect of life, and especially in the dichotomy of Freemasonry, you're going to deal with different people. And so you deal with folks who you know are doing the right thing. And sometimes that takes you falling a few times, but you get back up and you keep on moving, and eventually you'll get hooked up with the right people.
Okay. But now, if I want to join, because on the YouTube channel, I get a lot of requests of these from.
Okay. Any comments?
Like just piggyback on what I was saying earlier from the relationships, we need to not only do the for those who are in the order, number one, we need to do the right thing. But for those who are coming in, like he was saying, we need to seek out people who are on what we're trying to do and on the same accord that we're trying to be on. But back to the brother when he's talking about us that's already in the order, we need to try to be making sure that we're walking the talk that we're displaying. And like Grandmaster was saying, he don't need to really hear us. He needs to see us and see what we're doing. So you can teach a lot of things the best way by letting a lot of times other individuals observe what you're doing, because people will tell you anything. But then
Okay, let me put this other excerpt on. Past Grandmaster Muhammad
Good
out of
morning,
Chicago.
welcome to Mount Tabor Grand Lodge YouTube channel. I'm sitting here with Grandmaster Muhammad out of Chicago. I thought you guys would benefit greatly by hearing him speak on the Messiah.
It's a very ancient order. Where it is today is not what it used to be. What it used to be is not what it originally was. The Masonic order as we know it today is an offshoot of an ancient African system that taught our ancestors and taught the world morality, philosophy, theology, and spirituality in the form of pictures, in the form of lessons, to make it easy for those who came into that order then to transform their lives and ultimately learn to become one with God. Through the Hebraic or Jewish tradition, becoming one with God was known as B'nai or sons of light. In the Christian tradition, that's called, as we know it, Christ consciousness. From the Islamic tradition, we know that as becoming one with God as well. But the Masonic order today, it's been affected by cultural change. And that cultural change has went from being a community standpoint now to being individualistic. But that individualistic thought has become a poison in the Masonic order. Because the Masonic order was always about community. It was always about a collective mind, a collective society of minds working together for the betterment of not just one, but for the betterment of all. So what?
All right, fellas, any comments real quick? We working today, brother.
Yeah, hey, see, I understand when you said collective minds for the betterment. So that kind of stand out.
Well, but you cut it short. Betterment of what?
So the way you live, I guess, the way you think, the way you live, the life you want to live, things of that nature, I guess.
Any other comments?
Embrace the ancient path, and you know, when you're dealing with other people, try to have a positive effect on them. So you want to, you know, give to them and not take their negativity, but give them positivity.
Let me back up just a tad.
Yep.
Because the Masonic order was always about community. It was always about a collective mind, a collective society of minds working together for the betterment of not just one, but for the betterment of all.
All right.
The betterment of all.
There you go. See, sometimes we have to say it all. Be, as they say, word specific. Because if I say I joined the Masonic order for the betterment of who? When I say of all, that means now I came to give, not to get.
That's true.
So what's necessary in the Masonic order today, there has to be a revival. There has to be one or many who says enough is enough. We can allow modern culture to continue to poison the order that was originally set up to make all of us better human beings. It was not necessarily about degrees, although the degrees were there. It wasn't necessarily about titles, although the titles were there. It was about making yourself a better human being. And everywhere that you go, you were able to touch the lives of someone else and transform that life from whatever level they were on to a new level.
I use the term comments, Brother Searles.
Excuse me. Yes, I agree with him wholeheartedly. It's always a renewal, just like we have in the churches or synagogues or what have you. We have not a rebirth. We have
Regeneration,
yeah, I can't think of the term, but it's on those lines. And that's what we have to do. We have to jumpstart our organization and getting it out of the me mentality or the I mentality, and get back out to the ground forces of serving the people. And I agree with him. He was just talking about the titles, and I remember watching this video about, the titles and the positions and all that stuff is there. But you get people in and you have people that tend to be hat hungry or position hungry, which they're forgetting the basic tenets that they're supposed to be learning when we initially come in, even before as you are still an applicant, and then when you become a candidate, you're starting to learn those things at that particular point, so that you are a servant to others, not necessarily in the craft, but out in society. And I think that's where, in our society of Freemasonry, we tend to forget about that, because now we want the pretty blue aprons or the purple aprons and the nice collars with the distinguishing thing hanging from the chain and all that. We forget about our basic purpose for being a member of this particular society, and that is to help those that are less fortunate than ourselves.
Wow, I was just going to play devil's advocate and tell you that my life is great. I got $2 in the pocket, 3 in the bank. I don't have any problems. I got all this gray hair and good health. Okay, I can run. Can't run as far as I used to. I can kick. Can't kick as high as I used to, but I can still run and kick. So what is the Masonic Order going to do for me? And you just answered that, responded to that by saying what?
It's for the Masonic Order, it's for you to prepare yourself to help others.
There you go. Grandmaster of added value.
Yes, sir.
So that means every time I rub elbows with somebody, I want to leave them better than what they were when I met.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And that's, Grandmaster, that's the true mission of Masonry, adding value, as you said. We should never leave someone in the same condition where we met them. They should always be moved up to a higher level mentally or a higher level spiritually. That's the true spirit and the true mission of Masonry, to transform lives. So we have working to do.
Well, now the other term I like to use is interdependency. I love saying that we are interdependent creatures. The car salesman is waiting for the manufacturer to make the car. Then the salesman is waiting for someone to buy the car from him. The mechanic is waiting for you to drive that car.
I would say, in my humble opinion,
Last year, I made 403,000.
Fellas, if you ever get a chance to meet this past Grandmaster, it would be an honor. Okay. Okay. But it's a heck of a, that's a sharp young man. Okay, any comments on what you saw or heard?
Pretty good.
Go ahead, Al Brothers.
Okay, y'all were just talking about interdependency and whatnot. We are all dependent on one another. We're all part of the big temple. We're just little bricks. So while we're individual, we know that we are part of the bigger scheme, the whole, and that's how we have to take a look at this thing. So I need to be a perfect Ashley and be the best that I can be, so that I'm not the weak link. And I need to try to propel my brother to be better than he is. I should help to upgrade him and uplift himself as I'm on my journey. I need to be the influencer and not the influencee.
Okay. Any other comments? All right. What else did we have on that list to listen to? I know we had some history with Sister Basemore.
Oh, Brother Slymack.
And past Grandmaster Allen. Okay. What did we look at the year in, year out, putting your head back in the game?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, we should have. I think I got a little confused on my list, but hey, any other comments? Come on, talk to me. Hello? What are you saying, Brother Imran? Okay. Well, so what about today? What's the good news from the day? What's the takeaway, as we would say?
I guess the bottom line for me, just as a reminder, is to keep our ear to the ground, keep our feet to the ground, and give of yourself. Help those that are less fortunate than yourself out in the community. Inspire your brothers and your sisters. Should I say, not only inspire, but also encourage them. Because we all need a revival. That's the word that I was looking for. We all need to be revived sometimes, because we walk this path in the organization, and we can get stagnant in doing the exact same thing, even though we have all good intentions. Sometimes we need that revival to give us new focus and renewal within ourselves, to reinvigorate ourselves and get back out and show the world and show those in our community at the ground floor, to show them that we are there, and that we're there to assist them and not judge them, and help them in any way possible. And by doing that, doing those good deeds, membership, if you're looking to grow, as people see you doing and not just hearing what you've done. When they see those two things come together, they'll be more inclined to want to either partnership with you or become affiliated with you. So revive yourselves, renew your minds, go back to Romans 12:1. Take that and do what you got to do.
It sounds good. I want to do it, but it sounds good. I want to do it, but you're asking me, recommending to me that I step out of my comfort zone.
Yes,
You're
sir.
asking me and recommending to me that I put at arm's length my brother, sister, friend, or what have you. So
yeah,
that's tough to do, because I like them. I love them.
sure.
We have fun together.
Sure. You can still have fun. But if you have a mindset for what the greater purpose is, then you have to make a move.
Okay.
And sometimes it may take an individual, I don't want to say calling them a persuader, but that's where folks like us, if we're trying to, as leaders, that's one thing that a leader does. A leader is supposed to be able to find that niche within that particular individual and be able to find and help guide and transform that individual into what he or she needs to be. So if not going to say that it's going to be easy, but the leader has to put in the work with that individual and find that key. And it could be done. You just might have to meet them at their level and work from there. It can be done.
Go
Just
ahead,
work on
brother.
both sides.
Go ahead, Brother Mays.
I definitely agree. We have to be the light of the world as the Most High intended for us to be, and continue to strive for growth and development. With that being said, Christ wants us to be fishermen of men, you know. So we must understand the purpose and the objective of why we're here and cling on and pray for our purpose, you know, while we're here on earth and what our mission is, you know, to get accomplished. So
Yeah, well, see, Moore is a fisherman of men because he called me yesterday and asked me to go out to happy hour with him. Okay, to this. I just made that up for the record. Okay,
It's all good.
Moore is in West Palm Beach, Florida. I'm in Houston, so I'm not about to do that, and he's not gonna call me with that kind of stuff. But my point is, men are always fishing for other men. Is where are you? What pond? What fishing hole? Where are you trying to lead a person? We all have influence.
That was most important. What kind of bait you use?
Yeah. And how are we using our influence?
Yeah.
Are we influencing to the right or to the left? Are we influencing on a horizontal or influencing person to move in a vertical direction? Because we should be trying to move them into a vertical direction. Go ahead, Al.
Well, you just took what I was about to say.
Okay, got you.
I was going to go with the horizontals, but we have to be square and direct and true to our teachings and our BSL. If we want to ask Babylon, if we want to get away from tribalism, all we have to do is remain true to the teachings and, like you said, and exemplify them, exude them in our everyday living. And once we inculcate that into our lives, you should see the fruit. You should see it, you know, the product right there.
Okay. Brother Wilson, welcome.
Morning, sir.
Okay, he got his mic turned off. But any other comments? We've gone through this. Brother Wilson?
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, sorry, I missed a lot of it this morning. I hate I missed it. Yep. But sounds like I missed a lot too, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, you missed quite a bit. Brothers, this next video, we're doing some excerpts here. This next video is a brother from Romania. Okay, they came.
Can't enjoy sexual satisfaction. It's your
I'm associated, but after the border, and also the border put me a stamp, I made my first step on the life of faith. So I was like a child on his first Christmas tree. And after that, person gave me another job to meet Herbert. And he was very good with me and gave me one of his books. If you see a man who
quietly and modestly moves in the sphere of his life, who without blemish fulfills his duty as a man, a subject, a husband, and a father, who is pious without hypocrisy, benevolent without ostentation, and hates his fellow man without self-interest, whose heart beats warm for friendship, whose serene mind is open for lifeless pleasure, who in vicissitude does not despair, nor in fortune will be presumptuous, and who will be resolute in the hour of danger. The man who is free from superstition and free from infidelity, who in nature sees the finger of the eternal master, who fears and adores the higher destination of man, to whom faith, hope, and charity are not mere words without any meaning, to whom property, nay, even life, is not to fear for the protection of innocence and virtue and for the defense of truth. The man who towards himself is a severe judge, but who is tolerant with the abilities of his neighbor, who endeavors to oppose error without arrogance, and to promote intelligence without impatience, who properly understands how to estimate and empty his means, who honors virtue, though it might be in the most humble garment, and who does not favor vice, though it be placed in purpose, and who administers justice to merit wherever dwelling his palace or custom. The man who, without scorching the applause, is loved by all noble-minded men, respected by his superiors, and revered by his subordinates. The man who never proclaims what he has done, can do, or will do, but where needs, his will lays hold with his patient courage, circumspect resolution, and rare power of mind, and who will not cease until he has accomplished his work. And then, without pretension, we retire into the multitude because it is the good act.
That was that's part of a speech from Ovidio Smilac from Romania, Bucharest, Romania. It was awesome to be in that meeting. That was here in Houston, and to see a Masonic meeting where you have 5, 6 different languages and an interpreter there interpreting what is being said was awesome. And that's the way we should be able to carry ourselves. As I said, come October, we're supposed to go to Vienna, Austria. So that's going to be an awesome meeting too. And I'm going to try and record it and share it or what have you. But, you know, if any of you guys want to jump ship where you are and be a part of Mount Tabor for a hot minute, I shouldn't have said that. I'm wrong. I apologize. But you can go back. But you can go back home when you get back. Okay.
You can always have honorary memberships, man. That's not a problem.
Thank you, Wishful Master Searles. You took that hook out of my mouth because I was wrong as 2 left shoes. So yeah, you know, you can become an honorary member, travel to Vienna, Austria, and experience something that many, the greatest percentage of never ever see. Now, Brother Searles, Wishful Master Searles, you are a Mason, you're in the military, you've been across the ponds in different countries, but have you communicated and attended and fellowship with foreign Masonic lodges?
Yes, I have, only twice. Once when I was in Korea, excuse me, in Korea, and then again when I was in Germany. But never anything on the magnitude of this what you're talking about later on this year. But being in those two instances, and in Korea and in Germany, it was very nice. It was quite different. In Korea, they, of course, they didn't have the Holy Bible on the altar, although it was present. They kind of had the Quran, the Christian Bible. They opened up on, I don't know what it's actually called, but it's what they deal with Buddhism, and they had other manuscripts there. So if there was someone like when I was there, and me being Christian, they were willing to put that out on the altar. Whereas when I'm here in the States and I visit brothers in different states, and and if you were Islam, if that was your faith and you was still a Mason, they would refuse to put the Quran on the altar. Very different. But the experiences were really nice and well accepted. I enjoyed.
Okay. That's, again, we talk in terms of tolerance and acceptance, because we all are cut from the same cloth.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We all headed in the same direction. We all seeking the same light. So it's a good thing. And you just don't know what is down the road. I joined the Masonic Order back in the 80s, and we traveled to DC, we traveled to Boston, we traveled to New York, or we traveled within the States, and we claimed and labeled ourselves as traveling men, okay? But when it came down to doing some, I'm gonna say real traveling, going to Brazil, now going to Vienna, Austria, going to Romania, now that's traveling. Doing what, of course, Wishful Master Searles had the luxury of having the U.S. government pay for him to travel to these countries.
Yes, Lord.
But you are supposed to be able to move around the globe, the universe, because you are a child of the universal creator. And if you apply the principles and the precepts of Freemasonry, I go out on a limb and say you will be able to afford, and you will be allowed the opportunity to travel abroad or wherever it is you want to go. Now, all I can say is try me. But if you believe and have faith and work, what can't be accomplished? Tell me what can't be accomplished through faith, belief, and work. The answer is nothing. So, with that in mind, Brother Imran, you're at the top left of my screen. Let us see you, talk to us, say something. We're about to close out.
Well, I appreciate the lesson. I understand where I be going wrong. So I'm just listening and taking everything to heart, man, because at the end of the day, I know that I guess it's just, I guess my attitude, man. I got a terrible attitude, man, Mr. Ware. I really got a terrible attitude. So, that's just my downfall, my attitude. So that's just where it's at.
Flip Wilson, they used to say, what you say is what you get.
Yeah.
So I have a great attitude. I have a magnetic personality.
I got it.
Brother Mays, talk to us. Closing comments.
Man, I'm gonna say one of the lines, if it's okay. I'm gonna say one of the lines from your affirmations. Number 7. I'm just gonna say one sentence, I'm gonna say the last one. I know that I am pure spirit, deathless, birthless, changeless, and eternal. I speak with conviction, and it manifests in my life. I do not fear death, neither do I invite death, but it must wait until my work is done.
Amen. That sounds good. I heard that before somewhere. Hey, but everything that you said is first person present tense. Brother Moore. Okay, we can't hear you. Let's go to Brother Al.
Short and brief. Just have to remember that masonry, is based on universal fatherhood and universal brotherhood. So I'm definitely my brother's keeper. And you got to remember when dealing with your brothers, although you may get into a situation or a circumstance, you get mad, this is still his son too. So when you're praying, don't pray against the individual. You need to pray against that spirit, because what we're fighting against is not flesh and blood, but spirits.
Good word. Good word. Good word. Brother Moore, talk to us. Any closing comments? Okay, I think your lips moving, but we can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Had a little incident, Mr. Ware.
Okay, Brother Moore, we can't hear you. So we're gonna go to Whisper Master Searles for closing comment.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon again. Good morning, I should say. It's another great discussion this morning. Thank you guys for all of your input. Sitting here as always trying to take a few notes to better myself, but we just always have to remember, as I stated earlier, to try our best to give back to others, to those that are less fortunate than ourselves. That's what our main job is. We're being a part of this order and a part of this organization, and being a vessel to be able to bless someone and make our communities better. Thank you.
Outstanding. Brother Moore sent us a chat that said, as a man thinking in his heart, so is he.
So is he.
And we can't argue that point. The purpose of masonry is not to talk about who's right and who's wrong, but it is to express your thoughts, your revelations, and sharing with your brother so that he can make a decision as to how he want to travel and live his life. So there is no right or wrong. Every man is free to choose, free to judge what he want to do, how he wants to do it, and so forth. Okay. However, it is pointed out that when we have collective minds and collective spirits working in unity, we do have power. And they don't have to all be in the same occupation. We do have peace, and they don't have to be all the same age group. As I said the other night, I think I was talking to somebody, and I said the young relies on the wisdom of the old, and the old relies on the strength of the wisdom. And therein lies power. Okay?
Amen.
And we can take that, and we have that within the Masonic order, especially in Mount Tabor Grand Lodge, and we should all become more prosperous. Any comments, closing comments? Hey, I said it, it's right. What can I say?
I hear you. I have one thing, Grant.
Go ahead.
Mr. Imran, what's your number, man?
337 218 36
218 36
27.
27. Okay, cool. I'd like to give you a call sometime this week, man, if you don't mind.
All right. My thing is, man, I'm taking everything in, trying to make a 360. Because sometimes I be probably just taking things the wrong way. And it's probably just to, like you said, betterment, put me in a better place. Like,
sure.
So I just don't know. Sometimes I just think it could be that or somebody like, you know, my job is okay, but it's a little picking, you know, but Mr. Ware told me you don't let people rent space in your head. You'll make them
Yes, sir.
control you.
Yes, sir. So let me ask this. I may have missed this sometimes past.
Let me-
and if
let
I
me,
have, I
uh,
apologize.
Let me end the recording and we can
Okay.
continue to talk because we do have minutes left.
Okay.
Okay? Is that okay, or y'all want to continue?
No,
to
that's
respond?
fine.
Well, that's fine.
Okay.